Hi everybody, this is Kevin and welcome back to another manga review. And today we're going to be taking a look at Fairy Tail Volume 2 from Hiro Mashima. And I really enjoyed the first volume, which was essentially just an introduction to the universe and our main characters, Natsu, Lucy, and of course, how can we forget the blue cat, Happy? And well, it was sort of narrated from Lucy's perspective and how she wanted to join the Fairy Tail Guild, because it was, the most popular wizarding guild. And really, I guess every character in this universe can use some form of magic, it seems. Natsu can wield fire. Lucy is what's known as a celestial wizard, so she has all these gate keys and can summon these spirits. She summoned Aquarius, who is the goddess of water. Taurus, who is this giant bull with an axe. And then she also summoned the walking clock, Horologium. So it'll be cool to see the different spirits she summons as the quest goes on. And well, she was doing whatever it took to join the Fairy Tail Guild and saw this dude named Salamander, who claimed to be a member of Fairy Tail's guild, and she was trying to sweet talk him, and it turns out that he was actually trying to kidnap all these girls and sell them as slaves. So, of course, Natsu overheard all this and had to rescue Lucy. Not even for Lucy's sake, but because he slandered Fairy Tail's name. So, he rescues Lucy after destroying half the town and invites her to join the guild, to which we meet more of the secondary characters. We meet Gray, who's sort of Natsu's rival, Master Makarov, the leader of the guild, Elfman, Kana, a few others, I forget all their names, there's quite a few characters. And we learned that one of the guild members, Macau, had gone on a quest some days ago and went missing in the mountains, in the snowy mountains. So Natsu decided, alright, we gotta go see what's going on with Macau, and him and Lucy went up there and basically rescued the dude, and it turns out he was being held hostage by this creature known as a Vulcan, which is, a giant monkey that, that can overtake the person's body. So they had a great battle up there. It was a lot of great humor, some action, a lot of fun stuff. So it ended with everyone going back to the guild and Natsu, Lucy, and Happy going on their next quest, which was to Duke Everlu's mansion. And basically, he said, Lucy, join the team. We like you. You're a great team member. And then she's looking at the request, and it turns out that Duke Everlu likes hot blonde maids. So that's why they're bringing Lucy along. But, I'm sure they're going to warm up to each other as it goes on. So let's get right into it here. Oh, and of course, Natsu, his whole deal, he has motion sickness. And, anytime he's on any sort of moving vehicle, like we saw he was on a boat, he was on the wagon, he was on the train. Actually, the very beginning of Volume 1, he was on the train, and he was just sweating, he was throwing up, and he didn't get off the train, so it went around twice. It was hilarious. So Lucy's all happy. And basically, there's three of them, Natsu, Lucy, and Happy, and they're talking about how they're going to split the cut. And, it was a 700,000 jewel mission, so they're talking about splitting the cut. And Happy says, Lucy says it'll be 80, 10, 10, because she's doing all the work, because she's going to be the hot maid, right? And Happy says, Lucy, you're only going to get 10%? And I love all, the animations here of the faces and stuff. I know a lot of people were criticizing it, but I think the art's great. I really do appreciate how Mashima's evolved from this all the way back in 2006 to where he is now with Eden Zero. But, look at him getting off the freaking carriage, and every single time, because when he was on the train, too, he was saying that, I'm never going to go on any sort of public transportation again. I'm just going to have Happy fly me around. So then they start eating. And Lucy gets in her sexy maid outfit, and what does he say? What do? We were only kidding on the maid plan. She took it seriously. We can't admit it was a joke. We're going to have to go through it, but I can hear you. And then Lucy has this thing, too, where anytime Happy has a comment, she makes that face out of it. Goes, you stupid cat. Shut up, you stupid cat. So they make their way over here to Cabby Mellon, who's the guy offering the quest, and basically he sends them on their journey to Duke Everlu's mansion, who, is this very rich guy, wealthy guy who, has this book that this guy wants. And, they're asking questions, what's going on with the book? What's the deal? Oh, never mind it. Just find the book. It's called Daybreak, and burn it or destroy it. And they're like, what do you mean destroy it, We're just going to, what does Natsu say? He says, burn it, huh? Well, all we have to do is burn down the entire mansion. And Happy's agreeing. So they're talking about, well, you want us to burn the book? You're giving us that much money? 200,000 jewel. And then he says, no, I upped the price 2 million jewels. And actually, that's how Volume 1 ended. I think it was Macau said it, that they upped the price. And it's like, what are those two getting into? What's this Duke Everlu? And Natsu and Happy are like, yeah, we're going to be rich. Let's go. I'm on fire. So they're on their way, and it keeps showing this Cabby Melon here. That book is one thing I must erase from this world. And I don't know what the deal is with him. He's got like the Hitler stash. So Lucy goes to the mansion. It's like, oh, I'm here for the job offer to join as a maid. And this broad comes out, you want to be a maid? And then Duke Everlow comes out from the ground. Bo yo yo yo, were you calling me? And he kind of looks like Don Corneo from Final Fantasy VII, doesn't he? But I guess, I don't know, maybe could he use magic too? The fact that he just came out of the ground? Maybe his, like, element is using, like, the ground energy or something. So, you know, this big old broad is like, you're ugly. Like, what do you say? How can you say Lucy's ugly? And yeah, that's what Duke Everyone's like, I don't want you, you're ugly. And then the other maids come out, oh, only the most beautiful young ladies will do. Like, look at this beautiful ladies. Are you kidding me, dude? And Lucy's having a mental breakdown. What's going on? He has an abnormal idea for beauty. Is that your excuse? Shut up, you stupid cat. So now that that's through, she takes off the maid outfit because I guess she won't be needing that anymore. And it shows a silhouette of some other characters there. Bo yo yo yo, we're going to kill the wizards as he's smoking his cigar. So, you know, I love the humor in the animation, and I can't wait to, you know, I've held off on watching the anime so far, but it'll be interesting to see if they keep those faces in the anime and with those over the top reactions. So, you know, they got Happy. I guess Happy's magical ability is he can sprout wings whenever he wants. So he, you know, has wings, and they all go through there. Natsu breaks into the window. Another thing with Happy, too, is he always says, aye, sir. That's his catchphrase. And here's Lucy. Shut up, cat. So this woman shows up again, and it turns out her name's Virgo, the queen of the maids or whatever, and they must be exterminated. So they have a battle here. Oh, and then Natsu, he wears this scarf, right? So Happy puts that skull on his head, and Natsu wraps the scarf up like a ninja, and he's like, yeah, we're ninjas now. I was literally dying reading this, like laughing my ass off. I can't even tell you. So easily enough, they find the Daybreak book. You know, they're in this giant library, and they finally find it. And, look, Natsu finds the golden book, and she's got like the booba eyes. Will you guys please get serious about it? But he found it on the first try, so God bless him. So, it's written by this guy named Kimu Zalian. And Lucy mentions that, you know, he's a prolific writer. She's her biggest fan. I have to read the book before we burn it. And then, oh, yo, this guy shows up again. Everlow, Duke Everlow. And he's like, oh, why do you want this worthless book? It's mine. I'm very wealthy. I own it all. You won't destroy it. So, you know, he's just talking about that. And then he summons this duo, the Vanish Brothers. It's finally time for business. Mama would scold us for receiving money without working for it. So we got the Vanish Brothers here. Of the Southern Wolf Bodyguard Guild. So there's all these different guilds. Fairy Tail isn't the only guild. You know, Lucy in Volume 1 wanted to join it because it was the most popular guild. But we're going to learn later that there's good guilds and there's bad guilds. And these guys, I don't know, they're sort of like hitmen, I guess. They're sort of, I wouldn't say they're bad guilds, but these guys aren't bad, but they're like money for hire, you know what I mean? So they're here ready to take on Natsu and the gang. So Lucy runs away. This guy's doing his boy yo 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 and burrowing in the ground, and the Vanish Brothers are going to fight against Natsu. I can handle them both. So Natsu, he's a very cocky guy too. You learn that, and he's like, I can deal with fire wizards. And this is hilarious to me. He pulls out a giant frying pan. So if Natsu's going to use like his fire, you know, energy or whatever, fire magic, he's going to use the frying pan to block it. You know, so. Some great action scenes going on here where they're just going back and forth. Natsu's actually kind of getting his ass kicked, but, you know, doesn't really faze him. So, a lot of good stuff going on. And, you know, Natsu's like, come on, guys, let's do it. And they got the combined attack. So what happens is, well, they got this cool name, too. The Tenchi Shometsu Sappo, the Heaven and Earth Illumination Death Technique. So he jumps in the frying pan, he, like, throws him up in the air. And hits him. So, you know. So, Natsu's getting ready for his attack. The Fire Dragon's Roar. The Harari... excuse me, let me get this right. The Karyu no Haku, the fire dragon's roar. Excuse my pronunciation, I'm trying to get it right at least. And he lets it all out, and then the frying pan absorbs the freaking blast, and he's actually trying to send the fire back at Natsu, but what happens is Natsu absorbs the fire yet again, and is able to unleash his next attack, the fire dragon wing attack, the Karyu no Yokugeki. Lots of cool stuff right there. And then so Lucy, being the wizard that she is, there's sort of a MacGuffin for everything, and she has these magical glasses, which let her read the book in twice the amount of time, so she's able to read it, and it turns out that there's like hidden messages in the book, and she's got all the secrets now from Kimu Zalion, who wrote the book, and he was supposed to, he was contracted by Duke Everlew to write this book for him, but he actually wrote like a hidden message in it. So Happy saves the day, and throws him in the water, and then he summons the maid, and this is the backstory right here with Duke Everlew, and he's got Kimu Zalion writing this book for him. He was contracted to write the book, and the real secret is something entirely different. That's why you'll never set a finger on this book again, or should I say you don't have the right to possess it. Open, gate of the crustacean palace, and she summons her new celestial spirit here, Cancer, who's this giant crab. And like the whole design he's got here, he's got his hair in the shape of like crabs, and he's got scissors. What the hell, man? And Happy sees it's a crab. Oh, can I eat it? And what does he say? What hairstyle are we feeling like today? And he calls her a shrimp, Ebby. So I guess, did she just summon him in the past to cut hair because he's got the scissors? So yeah, I got a little ahead of myself. So Duke Everlew is a celestial wizard himself, and he summons the gate of the Virgin Palace, Virgo, who's, the maid, the ma'am or whatever. So she's here, and then Natsu apparently grabbed a hold of her, and Lucy's like, how the hell is that possible? Because what happens is, the spirit, the celestial beings can only stay in the real world for a certain amount of time, otherwise they're in hiding in the spirit world, and she's like, that's not possible! And Natsu's like, well, anything's possible, I just grabbed a hold of her, yeah! And they start fighting, and, Lucy's got her whip, she starts whipping them. So, that's it. They defeat Duke Everlew right there. Here's a great drawing right there. This must have been like a cover for one of them, because, when these drawings, you see they're like a little darker than that, that's usually when they were in color. It's like the chapter cover. So they get the book back, and they bring it back to Cabby over here. And remember, he said, destroy the book, and he's like, well, why are you bringing it back to me? You must burn it. And Lucy says, no, you have to read it. It's actually... It was written by your father. And he's like, well, that's why I have to destroy it. Because it turns out, his father was in exile and had to write this book for Duke Everlew. And he was a prolific writer. And this turned out to be a total sham, just writing about Everlew as this great hero. And, he was so disgraced by it that he was going to cut his arm off. And never to write another book again. And, he's like, what's going on? And then it turns out that he died, he passed away. But this is his last work, and Lucy uses her celestial magic to rearrange the letters there. And it's sort of an anagram. Daybreak reworks its way out to say, Dear Cabby, from Zikua Melon. So Cabby Melon, and, that was his name. It was Zimu, whatever it was. So it was actually a memoir to his son there. So... they were able to work it all out. So, and, he's able to find peace. The whole time I was thinking of you. This is the book that Kimu Zalion really left behind to his son. I never even understood my own father. And he agrees he's not going to burn the book now. And then Natsu's like, our mission's complete, but we failed to actually do it. We didn't burn the book. We can't accept the reward. And Lucy's like, what? Are you crazy? What do you mean we can't accept the reward? Time to go home. And she's like, I don't believe you. How could you refuse 2 million jewel? It would bring dishonor to Fairy Tale if we accepted the money. So Lucy's like, oh, how am I going to afford my rent? So they're making their way back home. And that's that. So they're back home now and meeting some more of the characters. Here's Mira Jane again. And they're talking about the whole Magic Council and the government. And you have the Magic Council who's represented by 10 members. Then you have the Guild Masters and then the guilds. So that's how the whole Magic universe is going on. And then they're talking about the Dark Guild. So remember how I mentioned you had the those brothers who were working for Duke Everlow, and they're like an assassin, well, not an assassination, but they're like a hitman guild, sort of like an evil guild, where there's dark guilds who have done evil magic, and they've sort of been excommunicated from the government. Sort of, they're told to disband, but did they really disband? No. So, now they're over here, and you got Gray, and this guy, I called him Loke, but it's actually, his name is pronounced Loki. So, Gray is Natsu's rival, and then you have Loki, who's like this playboy who's hitting on all the girls. And, I don't know, the running gag with Gray is, they're like, where are your clothes? And he's never wearing, he's always in his boxers, and everyone's always picking on him for it, but I don't know why he doesn't like wearing clothes for some reason. And he starts fighting with Natsu, and, Loke's hitting on Lucy over here. And she starts mentioning, well, no, she doesn't even mention it. He sees that there's keys on her, and he says, oh, you're a celestial wizard? I can't, this relationship can't work out, and he runs away. And, I don't know, that might be interesting for later, what the deal is with that. He's afraid of celestial wizards. So these two are just beating the hell out of each other, and Loki comes running back, Natsu, Gray, bad news! Urza's back! What? So, here's Urza Scarlet, the fairy tale wizard, and we go, look at her, god damn. And she's got, like, the knight in shining armor, and she got this, you can't really see it because of the way this page is creased, but she's walking with this giant carcass of a beast, and she's back from her quest, and just judging by the fact that everyone's so afraid of her, she's pretty tough, and everyone sort of fears her. And let's see, by the way, I hear you people have been causing nothing but trouble. Maybe the master will overlook it, but I won't. And she's making fun of Kana for drinking in those clothes. Yeah, she's not wearing any clothes. What's with these people? None of them wear clothes. Vistar, if you go to dancing outside, walkabout, you're dropping ashes on the table. So she's just yelling at everybody. And, where are Natsu and Gray? We're best of friends. And Natsu says, look at Lucy. Natsu's turned into Happy. So Urza mentions the fact that she's heard news of some disturbing rumors, and she wants the two of them to help her on the next quest that they have here. And they're looking at her like, I go with you? Oh no! I've never seen Urza ask anyone to go on a job with her. Oh, what's going on? So they agree to go on the what happens here that Natsu takes off his shirt? Oh, he puts the shirt on Lucy. He's trying to get Lucy to take Natsu's place. Aye, sir. So, anyway, Urza wants the two of them to go with her on the next quest. And then it cuts over here to the Eisenwald Iron Forest Wizard Guild. And remember, they're just mentioning dark guilds, right? So, they're talking about this guy, Kageyama. And it shows this dude right here, the Eisenwald Wizard, Aragorn, the Death God. And if he doesn't look like a bad guy, well, I don't know what to tell you. So, this is Aragorn, the next big villain here. So, of course, they're on their way to a train in Magnolia Station. And we know the deal with Natsu and trains. So, they're all waiting to go on the trains. And then Urza's like, oh, what's Lucy doing here? And, Lucy was told by Mira Jane to go with the two of them because Natsu and Gray don't get along. And before Urza shows up, the two of them are fighting with each other. Oh, we're great friends. Oh, you guys really are friends. And Urza is fooled. She's like, oh, you guys really are friends, huh? So let's get on this train. And what Natsu says before they even go, he says, well, after this quest, when we get back home, you and I are going to go one-on-one. Not like last time. I'm going to beat you this time. All right, whatever you say. I'm on fire. Let's get moving. So they get on the train. And this dude, look at him. He can't do it. So, Urza's like, all right, come over and sit by me. I'll come for you little boy. And she just knocks him the hell out. So, at this point, they're trying to figure out, like, what magic everyone can do. And at this point, I don't know what magic they can do either. So, we know that Natsu's a fire wizard. Lucy's a celestial wizard. And so Lucy says to Urza, what magic do you use? And she calls her Urza-san. And they mention, too, in like, using the formal words, like, Urza-san is more of a sign of respect in the Japanese culture. And with us, we just call them by their regular names. But a way that you establish more friendship in the Japanese culture is just calling them Urza or Lucy. So she says, just call me Urza. And her magic, essentially, she can re-equip and, use various armors and weaponry. And then Gray reveals that he can use ice magic, and he, just uses his fist there and summons, like, the Fairy Tail logo in the form of ice. So ice and fire, no wonder you guys are rivals, right? Although I would think ice and fire, Natsu would always win, right? I mean, wouldn't Gray be better off if he was a water wizard? I don't know. So over here, it shows this guy, this is Kageyama, and he's going to return with the lullaby in hand. And this is Urza recounting from when she overheard him at the bar. And basically, this guy Kageyama is bringing this thing known as the lullaby back to Aragorn, the death god. And just look at Aragorn. I mean, come on, you're telling me this is a good guy? So, Urza's lamenting the fact that she should have done something back then, and this is where we reveal that there's dark guilds. So essentially, that's where I think this is going to go, the whole overarching story. You're going to have like the Fairy Tail Guild go up against all these various dark guilds as the storyline progresses, because earlier, Mira Jane had mentioned to Lucy that sort of the dark guilds were former guilds that were excommunicated and sent to go on exile. So Urza says we're going to march on Eisenwald, and they get off the train, right? And this dude, he's got his motion sickness, so he's still on the freaking train. And Kageyama, the Eisenwald wizard, is sitting next to him, like, oh, you're from Fairy Tail, because you can see his insignia on his arm. And Urza's pissed. She's like, how can I leave that buffoon? What's going on? Stop the train, sir! And she starts yelling at everybody to stop the train, but nobody's listening. And this guy's just talking Natsu. He's like, are you okay, dude? Like, look at his face. What is his problem? Is he ever going to get over this, I wonder? Or is this just going to keep going on? So he kicks him right in the face because he's not answering to him. And he starts fighting back. Why are you hitting me? What's going on? And they start fighting each other. And he sees he's got like this nasty looking staff here. Like, look at that. What the hell's going on here? You get it back. So they're just wreaking havoc, and Natsu actually gets flown off the train, and Urza's here now in like a horse and buggy, and she rescues him, not before hitting Gray in the face. So, and they mentioned too that she can summon these magical artifacts. It's the magic 4-wheel car. So there's like a magical MacGuffin for everything, but it's pretty cool. I like it. So Natsu mentions the fact that he was sparring with a dude from Eisenwald. And Urza hits him, you fool! Didn't you listen to what I said on the train? And he says, no, Lucy says, you knocked him out cold. How could I be so careless? And Natsu mentions that he saw like that creepy artifact, which is the lullaby flute, and has the lullaby song, which is death magic. It's the forbidden death curse. So they gotta get that flute before Aragorn gets it. Otherwise, he's gonna use the forbidden death magic. So, and he's just talking about it. Oh boy. Yeah, and Kageyama, he's back now. He's got the flute. And that's it, man. He's going to use the evil curse. Who are they planning to use it against? So, exactly. So then Gray starts taking his clothes off again. And they're like, why are you stripping, dude? I don't know. He just doesn't like wearing a shirt, I guess. You would think because he's an ice wizard that he'd want to bundle up all the time, but it's like the exact opposite. So Kageyama mentions to Aragorn that, he had a run-in with Natsu of Fairy Tail, and Aragorn's like, you should have killed the runt, what are you thinking? And they make their way back, and Urza just starts yelling at everybody here. She's like, what's the situation? And she starts, because the Eisenwald people have occupied the station now. And she gets in front of all the conductors screaming at everybody. She really likes to take charge, huh? And everyone's lying down defeated. And this dude's like, I've seen that chick in the armor before. And they start fighting. We want to play. We're going to defeat you guys. And he's got the loudspeaker here with the flute. And he's going to broadcast, play the lullaby death song and kill everybody. And he says, this is the purge of people who don't realize that others' rights have been stolen away. So they mentioned that too. Like the fact that, dude, you're a dark guild practicing dark magic. Yeah, you're going to be excommunicated and get your rights taken away. What do you expect? you should use your magical powers for good. But of course, there's always going to be bad guys. And so Kageyama, his power, he also has some sort of dark magic where he can summon hands and other objects through the floor and through the ceiling and walls and stuff like that. So they start fighting. And you fell for our trap, Fairy Tail. I've had to make a few adjustments, but this was the plan from the first. There are certain people who have to hear my tune. The people I must kill, to be continued. So I can't wait to read Volume 3, man. Absolutely terrific. And I just want to show you some of the afterwords here. So this is interesting, too, because you have the Fairy Tail logo, right? Which, you can't really see it right here, but that's the official logo right there. And a lot of different attempts to make the perfect logo, which I can imagine if you're going to market it on everything. So pretty cool. I kind of like that one, too. That's like the actual fairy, but ended up pretty cool. And then this is his staff, the area where they work and everything. And here's a little pinup of Lucy and sort of where the names came from. So Natsu means summer. And he had the other character, Haru, from Rave Master, which means spring. And also with Eden Zero now, you have Shiki, which actually just means seasons. And mentions where he came up with all the names. Lucy, named after the Beatles song. I'm imagining Lucy in the Sky of Diamonds. Urza came from the heroine of an ancient short story, Fairy Tail. Loki, named after the Norse god, Loki. Elfman, all the names there. And then the afterword, he mentions like, oh, that was fast. I wonder where this series is going to go, I haven't even really thought about it. Let's see. I don't know if I'm even... Speaking of the future. Yeah, that's right. Speaking of the future, I haven't given any thought how this series is going to turn out. Haha! So, and this went on 63 volumes and it's continued in Fairy Tail 100-Year Quest. And reading Eden Zero, because he does an afterword in every one of his volumes, he mentioned the fact that, Rave Master and Fairy Tail, he was just sort of winging it, doing week-to-week stories. And with Eden Zero, he has a more cohesive plot, which is interesting. But it's really interesting how a lot of these manga creators do that. They just sort of wing it week to week. Like even with, I can remember with Toriyama and Dragon Ball, reading some of his interviews, he would always say that. So some good stuff right there. And then also the honorifics and sort of what things mean in the context of Japanese culture. So, and then there's also a preview to the next volume. So it's going to start right away with a great big battle against the Eisenwald wizards. So yeah, look forward to my review of Volume 3 later in the week. I'm probably going to do 2 of these a week because I can't really get enough reading this book, this whole series. And I'm going to look online to see like the corresponding arcs, chapters to anime episodes and watch the anime along with it. So, and give my thoughts on the anime and sort of compare and contrast it. So yeah, I mean, I think the characters all look great. I love the like the expressions everyone makes too. Like look at Natsu there with Lucy when she has like the teeth. When she's like screaming at everybody, like that right there. Look at that. It's hilarious. And just some of the, Gray's clothes, what's going on? So I love this series. I can't get enough of it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your thought in the comments down below. And stay tuned for my review of Volume 3 coming soon. Have a great day, everybody.